Good everyone, welcome to Pen Security. On today's content, we'll be talking about IP address. IP address is a short for Internet Protocol Address. It's just like a home address for your computer or device on the internet. Just like every house has a unique address to identify its location, every device connected to the internet has a unique IP address to identify it. Since we already know the internet is a global network of interconnected computers and other devices that communicate and share information, for information to be delivered to the right device or right channel, we need a unique IP address for each device. That way, communication and information will be communicated correctly. On our next slide, we have what is an IP address. Let's think about it this way, that the IP address is the phone number for our device. It's a unique series of numbers separated by periods. We have the 192, the 168.1.1. This identifies the device on a network. Then why is IP address important? Without IP address, computers would not be able to communicate with one another. Our smartwatches, our phones won't be able to stream Netflix movies. IP addresses enables us to achieve this feat. So the basic importance of IP address is to enable communication between devices. Then we have the types of IP addresses. We have the public IP address. This specific type of IP address is assigned by the internet service providers, which are your ISPs. They give you this IP address. Then we have the private IP address. These are used within your home office, your network, your printer, your phones. These are just basic private IP addresses that you use in a small area. Then we have a dynamic and static IP. Dynamic IP changes periodically and it's often assigned by your ISP, which is your internet service providers. While the static IP, this specific type of IP addresses, they remain constant. They don't often change. In our next slide, I will explain what this static IP means. On this next slide, we want to talk about how DNS works. The role of the DNS is as the internet's phone book. So when you type a website address in your browser, your device sends a request to server using its IP address. So for example, you want to save Timmy's phone number on your phone and you want to reach out to him. I don't think it will be smart enough for you to store Timmy's phone number in your memory, but you can save his name so you can get access to him immediately when you type Timmy. That's how it works with the DNS. Instead of us to cram or memorize the IP addresses, the DNS lookup is always there to redirect us to the website. For example, we have this 142 address here. Let me copy it and see where it will take us to. So let me paste. So you can see that DNS address takes us to the IP address took us to google.com. So this IP address belongs to Google. That's how it works. So understanding the IP address, understanding the IP address, there are a lot of things we need to consider. Since we imagine that the internet is a massive city, of course we need a postal address. So that's how it is. For packets to be delivered to the right device, you need an IP address. So the IP address is acting as your postal address. So in reference to public IP addresses, imagine you are in a city, and in the city you have an apartment building. Its unique outside address, which is the outside address of the world, or the internet, and your internet service provider ISP assigns this address to you, which is your router, which then manages the traffic between your home network and the internet. That's how it works. Then, in reference to private IP address, it's just like your apartment number within your building. Inside your home network, each devices like your computer, your phone, your smart TV has its own private IP addresses. That's how it works in private IP addressing. So when talking about dynamic IP, in explanation to dynamic IP address, like dynamic IP protocol, internet protocol, it's like renting a hotel room where the room number changes each time you visit. You know, I told you from the previous slide that your dynamic IP address, it changes periodically. That's how it is. While for your static IP address, it's just like the example I made with the DNS lookup, which is your Google. It's just like your house address, your permanent house address. You know, you don't change it. Once your house is permanent, it's permanent. You don't change it. So yeah, that is a context of the dynamic and the static IP address in relation to our everyday life. Then our next slide, we're talking about IPv4. So IPv4 IP address is the older format which uses 32-bit addresses. This is some complex explanation, but I'll try to break it down. So for the IPv4 IP address, we have the 192.168, just as I showed you from the previous DNS. I explained the 142.250. That's how your IPv4 address looks like. Then for the IPv6, it is the newer format of IP addresses that uses the 128-bit addresses. It offers limited number of unique addresses to accommodate the growing number of the internet. So why did they introduce IPv6? Sorry. The reason IPv6 was introduced was because the rate at which humans are accessing the internet, those that started the internet did not believe the internet would be what it is today. Although they had the prospect that the internet would be very, very huge, but not to the point it is right now. Millions of people, even right now, IoT devices like your TV, your smartwatch, your fridge, they all connect to the internet, and they all requires an IP address to connect to the internet. So that's why with the IPv4, IP addresses are becoming in short. Like we have shortages of IPv4 addresses. That was why IPv6 addresses were introduced. So how does IP addresses facilitate communication? Request initiation. You type the website address into your browser. Your browser asks the DNS server to find the corresponding IP address, just as I explained with the DNS. And using the obtained IP address, your request travels across the internet, hopping between various routers and servers. Then you get the data exchange. The website server receives the request, it processes it, and it sends back the requested data to your IP address. So, receiving data, your router gets the data and forward it to your specific device, either using your private IP address or your public IP address. So, in everyday analogies, in making a phone call, you just need a phone number to call that person or device. That's how it is also when we use our phone to browse the internet. You need a specific IP address to be able to communicate with. Let's make reference to sending a letter. Just like addressing a letter with a postal address, it ensures that it goes to the right place. If your address on the postal address on a postal letter you're posting is incorrect, it will go to the wrong place. So that is the significance of IP addresses. It ensures that packets are delivered or go to the correct device. Then we have the IP address class. For the IP address classes, they are divided into different classes. We have the A, B, C, D, and E. But I'll be talking about just A, B, and C because they have their special characteristics. For the class A IP addresses, it ranges from 1.0.0.0 to 126.255.255.255. The first octet is used for the network part, and the remaining 3 octets are used for the host part. When we'll be dealing on a subnetting, I will explain more. The total network it reserves is about 16.7 million. So It's often used by large organizations like government agency, like government agency like Google. They use it. They often use it. They are the ones that use the Class A IP addresses. Therefore, Class B IP addresses, it ranges from 128.0.0.0 to 191.255.255.255. The first 2 octets are used for the network part, and the remaining 2 octets are used for the host part. Total network is 16,384 and approximately 65,000 per user. So it is often used by medium to large organizations, often schools, institutions like your universities. They use these IP addresses. Then let's talk about Class C IP addresses. This Class C IP addresses ranges from 192.0.0.0 to 223.255.255.255. These IP addresses are used for small area organization like your small business, your home network. It ranges from 192 back and forth. It doesn't accommodate large number of users. The highest it can accommodate is 254 users. So you see, it's a very small network. Then special IP address ranges. Class A ranges from 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. Like I said, they are used by organizations and big companies like Google, AT&T. Then the Class B 172.16 to 172.31. These are used mostly in the universities. However, the Class C IP addresses, your home router, small LLC company like with below 100 hosts, 100 users. So that is it for IP addresses, and I hope we'll get to hear back from you very soon. Thanks for watching.